Hello, my name is Bill Dixon. I'm with my co-host tonight on Lessons of Vietnam, Mr. Bob Matthews. We're going to be bringing you part three of the symposium we did at the North Carolina History Museum, the early battles. We're going to be telling you a little bit about the upcoming Vietnam Veterans Weekend we're going to be having there, being that March 29th or April 1st is the 30th is the National Vietnam Veterans Day. We're going to be doing several things at the museum. We'll tell you a little bit about the symposium that got snowed out twice. That's hard to believe. In North Carolina, we had the symposium snowed out twice, but we were snowed out twice for our symposium. It's been rescheduled. But tonight, Mr. Matthews here has got a book he wants to tell you about, and I just realized I hadn't read that one. And I want to read that one because I was there for the Tetna Festival in '68 and didn't enjoy it very much, but I did enjoy going to one here.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Bob, and tell them about the book and
Okay.
so forth when we get started on the.
Bill, it seems like the more we talk about Vietnam and the more we teach it around the country and more programs we put on, there's better and better questions come up. And our audience is a reading audience. This recent book I want to recommend is by James S. Robbins, and it's entitled This Time We Win. It's a cryptic analysis of the Tet Offensive, which has been grossly misreported in history for probably over 40 years. I highly recommend this book on your reading list, This Time We Win by James S. Robbins. It's a great read. And a secondary book I wanted to recommend tonight, and we're going to have both these books at our activities downtown Raleigh at the end of this month, is a book entitled The Things They Carried. This is probably the most famous book in all the Vietnam literature, and it's very famous because the title has three meanings. The Things They Carried has a little bit to do with the physical gear men carried, men and women. It also has a lot to do with what they carried here and home to their families. It's compelling. It's a double read. You read it once, put it down, take a break, go cut the grass, read it again. It's amazing. The Things They Carried. Thank you, Bill.
I got an assignment for you right now. I know Bob was the teacher and usually gives homework, but I have an assignment for you right now before you get interested in the show, because we're going to have question and answers from Joe Marm, Joe Galloway, and Clifton Haskins. Dial 919-518-9773, or even better, go on your computer and on Skype and go to Computers 2K Voice. That's Computers, Computers, 2K as in K as in kilo, Voice, and log in, make up a name. I know Crap Burner is a good name to use, and be part of the show. We have talked about a little bit before. We have Ron Harris's play coming up, the 27th, 28th, and 29th at the museum. We'll be having all kinds of displays there. If you're a Vietnam veteran and you live within a couple hours drive, you would enjoy enough to make that drive. The on Friday night show starts at 7 p.m. The Saturday show starts at 4, so you can come make a day on Saturday, and Sunday shows at 2 o'clock. Now, we will also have the 1/8 version of the replica of the Vietnam Wall there, and we'll be able to give you printouts and some digital etchings there. We'll have uniform displays. We'll have a special thing there that Bunyan Price's remains will be coming back home by that time to North Carolina. His family has accepted his remains, and we'll be going to the funeral. What is it? April. What is that day of the funeral? I forgot now what date of the funeral was.
I want to say the
11th,
21st.
11th, or no, I think it's closer than that. Excuse me while I thumb through my book here.
Okay.
And it's the 11th.
It's
Okay,
very
April
big
11th,
day.
we'll be going down to Gastonia to Bunyan Price's funeral service, and been to those before, and they're quite moving. But I would love for you to come and join the play, but come early so you can meet some things. I want to give you a special invitation. I'm going to read an invitation just for y'all. We are having a special Vietnam Veterans Recognition Weekend as part of the National 50th Anniversary Commemoration of the Vietnam War. Bob, we must be getting old. 50th commemoration of the war.
I'm not old.
The keynote event of the weekend is a moving play by a local Vietnam veteran, Ron Harris. Ron's play, Etchings in Stone, honors the 58,282 men and women whose names are etched into the Vietnam Memorial Wall, and those who returned, as well as those who remained home and supported those who went. It is a play by Vietnam veterans, with Vietnam veterans, and those who supported them as the cast members. Bob and I have even got a part in the play.
Magnificent.
Along with the play, there'll be a 1/8 scale replica of the Vietnam Memorial, located in D.C., with the ability to locate names on the wall and get a bio printout. There will also be 41 bios of North Carolinians still unaccounted for as a result of the war in Southeast Asia. We'll be recognizing the return of Bunyan Price's remains to his family, making those from North Carolina still unaccounted for at 40. There will be uniforms and memorabilia from the war, along with other items displayed. Tickets are required to attend the play. They are free, because we not want a veteran who wants to see the play to be able to miss it because he couldn't afford to get into the play. But tickets are very limited. The wall and other displays are available to everyone to visit without a ticket being required. So you don't have to go see the play if you can't get a ticket. But we'd like to extend to you a special invitation to join us in honoring the Vietnam veterans and their families. March 27th, show at 7 p.m. Saturday, March 28th, show begins at 4 p.m. And Sunday, March 29th, show begins at 2 p.m. And if you can come and get the tickets, dial 919-266-7654. We have a phone answer machine that answers the phone 24 hours a day. Let us know what show you want to see and how many tickets you need. Just speak slowly. I listen Southern.
Speak up.
And speak up loud so I can understand you. I'm getting old. But call for your tickets. All we ask, if you're going to get a ticket, that you use it, or if you can't use it, either call and let us know that you're not going to be able to use it, or even better, give it to a friend. It all comes down to we want a butt in every seat. And that's not a cigarette butt. So we look forward to seeing you there. And the reschedule, as I mentioned a while ago, of the POW Symposium, which will have Bill Schuette, 7.5 years as a POW in Hanoi, Brigadier General Norman Gaddis, and Vietnamese Colonel Hein Vo, who went from a machine gun to 8 years in re-education camp. I'm looking forward to that symposium. It's just as much as I had the one that we're getting ready to see the question and answers on. And now I'm going to turn it over to the man with the plan, Mr. Amnon Nissan, who's going to start the question and answer session of the symposium that we had. If you have questions, call in or compute in. I guess, is that a word? We'll make it a word. Compute in or log in.
Yeah, log in.
Okay, log in and make your comment, ask a question, or whatever you want to do. It's all up to you, sir.
Weren't allowed to go into Cambodia back then either.
That's right. We were having our own troubles with the truth.
Yeah. We're running short on time, guys. I got time for 2 more questions, and then we've got another presentation real quick. So just 2 more questions. Go ahead, look back there, and then we'll go.
Yes, I'm Robert White. I'd like to thank
quilts,
3 of you on stage for the time you've done. Speaking of the 34, the helicopter, I had a brother, we both were in Nam together, and I was with the 101st, and we were south. So I got an in-country R&R to go to China Beach and to meet my brother, which he was up in Dong Ha at the time. And so I flew in with the gunship, Huey, and landed in Phu Bai. And you were talking about that 34. That was a piece of shit I ever seen one. And when they started it, it was kind of like oil would be coming out the sides, you know, and I remember the gunner, this was Marine Corps now, they came out, and he had a rope and a 5-gallon bucket, and he come inside that 34, and had an M16, a rucksack, helmet on, had a Screaming Eagle on the front and of the helmet, and he come in there, he sat down and put the bucket down under a white bucket, and he took a rope and put it over a rib, and he suspended the 60 machine gun. And so I got up to Da Nang, and it's so weird, it was like Twilight Zone, that in the early part of the war, the Marine Corps didn't have a lot of what the Army had. And seeing the M14s and the mountain rucks, it was like, Army doesn't have that now. So in the early part of the war, a lot of people didn't know that Marine Corps, they didn't have what we had. So it was kind of hilarious to see a ship like the 34.
The only time the Marines become afraid in their helicopters is when they don't see hydraulic fluid leaking on the floor.
That's an amen, Joe.
If it ain't leaking, then it must have all run out and the whole thing's going to quit.
We got time for
one more thing. When I got to Da Nang, he came in on a C-47, and when he landed, they were taking bodies off from Dong Ha, and he had to step over the body bags as he got off, and I hadn't seen him in 5 years.
While we're getting to the next question, the color guard wants to make their way up on stage, if you would. You have a question.
A quick question. Again, thank the three of y'all for speaking tonight. This has been very moving. Joe, please say hello to Tony Zinni next time you get back to San Francisco. And this question is for you. I see you've been in 2 wars. You were the first Persian Gulf War, and then you couldn't have enough, so you went back again in 2003 and 2005 and 2006. You got any quick comments on the relative leadership of the Vietnam, first Persian Gulf War, and now what's happening in Iraq?
That's a quick question and a long answer, unfortunately. The Persian Gulf War, I thought, was a graduation exercise for all that we paid to learn in Vietnam. The senior commanders, from Norm Schwarzkopf to Stan Arthur in the Navy, to Horner in the Air Force, and the ground commanders, every one of them fought in Vietnam. Every one of them had been lieutenants, captains, and majors in Vietnam. They'd been cannon fodder themselves, and they were determined never to make a man under their command cannon fodder. And so all of the rules, it was the negative lessons learned in Vietnam that they turned around and applied in the Persian Gulf. Don't go in half-ass or half-strength. A ratchet is something you use on a Chevy engine. You don't use it in terms of putting power on the ground to fight an enemy. You go in at 115% strength. You don't have a tour of duty. You tell them when they go in that the only way out is through Baghdad. Everything they did was absolutely spot on, and it took them 100 hours to kick Saddam Hussein's ass all the way across Kuwait and back into half of Iraq. And I rode with them, and I had a ball. And as to the wisdom of going into Iraq again, it's the stupidest thing that we've done in terms of our national leadership calling that shot. There was not a single good reason to go in there. We had that guy in a box, and we went in there half-cocked, half-assed, and with a Secretary of Defense who is a moron. And the result are 5,000 dead Americans in Iraq, 2,000 dead in Afghanistan, and neither situation is what I would consider victory or even a good stalemate. So I don't know if I answered your question, but Basically, I would go back and any 3- and 4-star general or admiral who was selected for promotion by the system run by Rumsfeld, I would take him out if he's still there, and I would take out everybody he mentored up to senior rank because they were selecting for flexibility, not moral courage. And you know, if you're going to take young men to war and get them killed, and women too today, by God, they ought to be led by men and women of moral courage, good character, and smarts. My story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. Yes. I'm glad you don't feel too strongly about that. We want to, we got a special presentation we want to do. Some time ago, I met a young lady named Lisa, and she decided she wanted to do something for heroes that are around us. And Lisa Wardnaw, would you want to work your way on that, please, real quick? Her and her husband both are true patriots. Let me tell you a little bit about her husband. I was hoping he was going to be here tonight. We were going to Boston to do a talk with all the teachers at the Social Studies Conference, and they're from the Boston area. And he said, well, why don't I drive you up there? And then he couldn't get off from work, and then he talked about getting one of his company airplanes to take us. But what he did was he rented a van for us and furnished the gas for us to go to Boston and back. Just how much he wanted to support us. But it's another story that he was in a jewelry store, and I don't know whether he was buying it for Lisa or what, but he was looking to buy something. And there was a young soldier in there who did not have enough money to buy what he wanted to buy for his wife. So Jeff kind of went on the side and bought a gift card for the jeweler to give to that young soldier so he could buy his wife the present he wanted to get her for Christmas. And that's the Wardnaw family, and Lisa has a team of mostly young ladies who, like her, who put together the Quilts of Valor. So Thankful is the name of her group, Operation So Thankful. And we have a special presentation tonight. Lisa, if you want to come forward, I'm going to, we have Joe Marm, we have something we want to present, well, Lisa wants to present to you for thank you for being here. As she's coming forward, again, I want to thank the Sea Cadets, Raleigh Battalion, for being our color guard tonight. Thank y'all for being here. Y'all done a great job. I believe you have a family member that's involved with them on that. We won't embarrass him, but to tell him which one it is, but up there. And I'm going to turn this mic over to Lisa.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Lisa Wardnar, and I'm the coordinator for Operation So Thankful, which is a local Quilts of Valor Foundation group. The Quilts of Valor Foundation is a grassroots group of thousands of quilters across America. Our mission is to cover all combat service members and veterans with quilts to honor them for all they've done for us. Since it was founded by Catherine Roberts in 2003, when her son was deployed to Iraq, over 112,000 quilts have been presented to both active service members and veterans. They are sent to medevac flight nurses in Afghanistan, to our trauma center in Kandahar, and to hospitals in Germany. They are presented at Walter Reed in Bethesda, as well as many of the veteran medical centers across the United States. Many have been presented personally, like today's celebration. A Quilt of Valor is not a blanket. It's never a birthday or Christmas gift. People often ask, how much is a Quilt of Valor, or can I buy one? And to be honest, a Quilt of Valor is priceless. It can never be bought. It can never be sold. A Quilt of Valor is a thank you from all of us to you for all you have done. I would like you to know that our Quilts of Valor bring a three-part message. First, we honor you for your service, for your willingness to leave all you hold dear and stand in harm's way in a time of crisis for all of us. Second, we know that freedom is never free, and our quilts are meant to say thank you for your many sacrifices. For those of us who have never seen combat or been in a war zone, the experience is beyond our capacity to comprehend. For all you have endured, on behalf of all of us, we say thank you. And finally, these quilts offer you comfort. When young men left home to fight in the Civil War, most of them took a quilt made by family members, and they were called comfort quilts. It was all these young men had for warmth and also for the comfort of memories that memories of home can bring. Quilts still have the ability to offer a source of both comfort and warmth. We hope when you experience dark memories or need the warmth of a hug, you will let this quilt wrap itself around you and provide both. Quilters say that every quilt tells a story. The story of your quilts began right here with a group of North Carolina quilters who share your love of country. On each quilt is a label, and each presentation case is a note that will tell you something about the quilt's beginnings. As of today, the story of this quilt becomes your story. We hope you will keep it with you as a tangible reminder that there are thousands of women and men across this land that are ever in your debt, and that is our pleasure to honor you with a Quilt of Valor.
Present. On. Order. Arms.
Very special. Thank you very much.
And there's a special case for it to carry it in. So,
My
okay,
wife is a quilter, so this.
Okay, Mr. Galloway, would you step forward, please?
My wife's a quilter, too.
Present. Arms. Order. Arms.
Cliff?
Present. Arms. Order. Arms.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. And once we got a couple more things to do yet, but when we well, here we are back. We got a chance to hear Joe Galloway give his opinion on politics and military and so forth. And
He's very diplomatic, isn't
yes, he is very diplomatic and it's really a loss of words. He's
yes.
really shy.
he? He's a shy man.
And I want to read something to you that just came in the mail. Some of you know, North Carolina Vietnam Veterans Incorporated has a full curriculum course called The Lessons of Vietnam that actually Mr. Matthews wrote when he was a full-time active teacher. The first course was a pioneer course at Inlaw High School where he was the social studies teacher there. So we travel all around and speaking to schools and so forth. And this is one of the reasons I like to go speak to the schools. Dear Mr. Matthews, Mr. Carmen, Mr. Dixon, and Mr. Gross, thank you so much for visiting Woods Charter School last month and speaking to our 8th graders. We thoroughly enjoyed hearing your stories and all learned so much from you. I think you have a wonderful program, and I'm grateful to have such a fantastic resource close by. And this is one of the thank you cards that we have on it. So, no, see you. I also hope that my school and your organization can work together more often in the future. Thank you again thanks again for your visit and for your service to our community and nation. Sincerely, Ashley Lally.
You know,
And
Bill,
that's what the things in that letter you just held up with all the signatures on it, Bob, is that's what makes it well worth the time and energy and the money it takes to drive and speak to the schools. So many kids get and schools get such a bad reputation,
Sure.
but we have always just been well received by the students and the faculty and staff.
That's for sure. Well, Bill, you know, if you give students a chance to ask questions about something they're interested in, they'll never disappoint you. And this was a great experience for us. And we've been also invited to expand more in North Carolina, in Winston-Salem, in Wilmington, and of course more in Wake County, as the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War continues to implode everywhere. The bottom line is education. Always has been and probably always will be. And we are prepared to meet the challenge. The Ridgeback is alive and well.
In fact, we have gotten information this past week that we have been requested to go back to Vietnam again and put in another playground. We're not exactly jumping with joy right now, but we are taking under consideration in a year. I still cannot go by the airport without cringing a little bit. It's going to take me a little bit longer but there's always the possibility the bridge will bridge back to Vietnam and put another playground in, and hopefully see some of the things we hadn't seen before. And Monday night we had another special Quilts of Valor information. And speaking of Quilts of Valor and Lisa and her group of ladies, those quilts run about $200 to make. If you want to, kick in a little bit of money or whatever, you can call that number I gave you for the tickets, 919-266-7654, and let me know that you'd like to donate more money to, or some money to Lisa and her ladies for those quilts. Bob and I have been recipients of those quilts, and they're very special. With a carrying case and everything, the embroidered with your name and rank and so forth. They're very special, and we want to make sure that she is able to continue giving those out to the real heroes that are out there and their families. So even though she pays a lot of it out of her own pocket, and the ladies do also, they could always use donations. So let me know or let Bob know, and we'll see what we can do. But Monday night we went over to Durham to a convalescent home. There's a man over there by the name of Bob Cox. Bob was in Vietnam in 1967 and was hit by a landmine. He had a watch hanging on his flak chest, and the piece of shrapnel went through his watch, and he was wounded pretty bad. They sent him home. He now suffers from Parkinson's disease, and he told us the other night he had an 18-year-old mind and a 75-year-old body, and his health has not been as the best in the world. He was very athletic. He was a tennis coach at Duke and played a lot of tennis. I knew him before Vietnam. In fact, I've probably known Bob as long as I've known my wife. Because he and I were at Atlantic Christian together. Actually, I was in high school and he was at Atlantic Christian at the time. But we went over to his nursing home, convalescent home, and were able to present him with a Quilt of Valor. And it really meant a whole lot to him. And
Sure
we
did.
had a good crowd there. And so if you have a veteran that you think that deserves a Quilt of Valor, let us know, and we'll talk to Lisa. If you want to donate some money, again, we're always looking to help some money for her. As we mentioned a while ago, Bob, you want to talk about the difference between D.C. and going to D.C. to see the wall, where a lot of veterans can't do it, or just not only physically, but emotionally, they can't been able to do it, and also financially. But this is an opportunity.
Well, Bill, one of the things about the Vietnam Wall is most people are aware of the fact that it is the most visited monument in the world. And a lot of people, even Vietnam veterans, they simply cannot get there physically. They can't financially. Their emotions take over. They keep saying, I want to go. Will you go with me? And they simply cannot go. Well, after being to the wall many times with students and with veterans, we have found out that some of the best memories of the wall is going to the actual wall and listening. Listening to families talk, share stories, talk to veterans, and just pay attention. With Ron Harris's play, Essington Stone, you have a unique opportunity to go to the wall and actually walk into the wall and watch this play and emulate what it's like. Listen to stories, all kinds of people, from widows of veterans to protesters to soldiers, every walk of life that Vietnam affected has a piece of this play. As Bill mentioned earlier in tonight's program, we'd love you to come down to the Museum of History and share a weekend with us. I don't think you'll forget it. Bring your cameras. Bring your time. Don't be in a hurry. Please come down, come to see us, say hello, take part in history at the Museum of History, and I think you help us celebrate 50 years of Vietnam. 7 letters that changed the world. A unique opportunity.
Well, Bob, you know, there's a lot of veterans who have not been able to get to D.C.
Correct.
Our 1/8 replica of the wall is the next best thing if you live close by.
Yes, it is.
Come visit the wall. We'll help you look up a name. I know that I have looked up 5 or 6 names for someone. One man, he was 3 men, he and 2 other guys were laying down, and the 2 men on either side of him were hit and killed, and we were able to give him some closure with helping him find the names on the wall and giving him a printout. He just never had been able to go up to D.C. That's really very special to be able to do that. We'll have a lot of Vietnam vets there. If you're a Vietnam vet, come tell stories, or we won't tell you that you're Dinky Dow or anything.
Never.
Because you're telling stories. You have
And which day do we have the ceremony?
We're having a ceremony on Saturday, the 28th at 1 o'clock. That is the ceremony with where we have met for the last 27 plus years to call out the names of the North Carolinians still unaccounted for. And also our next show, which is March 24th or 25th. I can't remember which one. It's one of those shows. I do remember whatever day it is one of those 2 days. Our show is going to be on the 41 POW MIAs from North Carolina, their story.
25th.
When we call out the names, they're not just names. They're men and their families. The families who do not have closure, the families who do not know what happened to them. Like I said, we have continued to call out the first Saturday of those names. We'll be calling them out again on that Saturday, the 28th at 1 o'clock. Our normal ceremony is at 12 o'clock, but we don't want you to have to hang around too long. So we're going to do it at 1 o'clock with the play starting at 4 o'clock. That gives you a chance to come in and see the displays and so forth. But at that time, we'll also be retiring Bunyan Durant Price's name. He will be coming home and to his family and proper burial so that they have closure and all the other Vietnam vets have closure. So a lot of things going on and coming up and so forth for Vietnam vets.
Lockhart is asking, said, in terms of expanding through Wake County, has NCVVI ever done programs with Wake County public libraries?
No, we have not. We've made available to the library our course. The course is online now. It's also in hard copy, and we've given the library copies. Athens Drive Public Library has several copies. It's called Lessons of Vietnam. It's a 14-chapter course, and as Bill mentioned, it's a full-fledged course in the high schools for the upper class. We've taught it at NC State's Encore program, but as far as dealing directly with the library, we've offered our services, but we received no request as of yet.
One of our challenges, Ms. Logger, is we are not a national organization. I am a member of the Vietnam Veterans America, the VBA chapter out of Durham, 530, which I have joined so I can get them some of the information that's put out. But anything about Vietnam goes to them and information and so forth, and they're always getting stuff. But we are much more active than most chapters in the state. North Carolina Vietnam Veterans, basically, we have members in Wake County, Franklin County, Johnson County, surrounding counties and so forth. So it's very hard for us to get recognized, even though we're probably better known in Vietnam and other states than we are right here locally, which has always been a challenge and a frustration for us, because we do have the course, we do have this show, we do have that Saturday ceremony we've been doing for 27 plus years. We do have the play coming up, and the symposiums coming up with the History Museum. We are trying, and we do travel with the curriculum school. So if you're with the library and you would like for us to talk to you about doing something at the library, we would be happy to talk with you. Bob has in the past done something through the Encore program at NC State University. We had to turn it down this year because they didn't want the history of the Vietnam War. They wanted Vietnam today. In other words, they wanted us to be travel agents. And we have been over there quite a few times, and it's changed a great deal. I've got pictures of all the new buildings and the tunnel that goes through the mountain between Da Nang and Hue, the freestanding elevator going over the Marble Mountain so the elevator doesn't touch the mountain. It reminds me of Lynn Cove Viaduct up in the Blue Ridge Parkway where Grandfather Mountain went to. But we're not travel agents, so we basically turned that one down. But we are interested in expanding, because our big thing is education and doing away with the myths of the Vietnam veteran. So I hope I answered your question, or Bob answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in and asking and so forth. We'll look forward to seeing you Friday at 7 o'clock, or Saturday at 4 o'clock, or Sunday at 2 o'clock. But be sure and call and get your tickets so we can get you in there. There's only 300 seats per performance. That's the reason we had to go to tickets. And they are moving. On that machine, I go back every day and go back in and pull the names and number of tickets off, and we are moving tickets. Along with Mike Cook will be there with all his displays and so forth. Mike has a great display of uniforms and other paraphernalia of the Vietnam War. So one of the things I'd like for you to do is, like I said, our next show is going to be on POWs from North Carolina. Not POWs from all over the United States, but just North Carolina. Give us some ideas. Call in from this show or the next show, or call in that number and give us some ideas what you'd like to see on this show. Bob and I are always out there trying to bring you something that's quality and good information, and some guests that are not as boring as we are on the air. So just give me an opportunity. My producer says I was been looking at the TV, at the monitor instead of the screen. I'm sorry about that. I'll do better. I'll get as bad as Bob Matthews now. But call in or let us know if you see us out someplace. Come to the play and the symposium, the Vietnam Veterans Weekend as the History Museum, and give us some ideas what you'd like to have on the show, or come up to us and says, I want to be on your show. Bob and I will both be there. In and out. I'll be at the wall, and Bob will probably be at the wall a good part of the time, except when I'm having to be backstage for my cameo appearance.
You are an actor.
Well, I am probably the worst actor in the entire group, and I'm the only one that's got a speaking part. The rest of everybody else is pre-recorded.
I think you're a thespian. No question
Don't
about
call me those bad words.
Bill, I'd like to also mention something.
All right.
That one thing about the Vietnam experience with etchings in stone, and with the question recently about the library and the education wing of what we do, we want to encourage the listening audience tonight to don't be afraid to bridge the very delicate subjects. We try to cover Agent Orange, PTSD. We try to cover all the myths of Vietnam, the suicides, the divorce, the high drug use. But we also want to cover the personalities of Vietnam, the William Calleys of My Lai, the Jane Fondas, the William Westmorelands.
Do we have to cover Jane Fonda?
We do. We have the McNamaras, the John Kennedys, the Lyndon Johnsons.
Cover it with a concrete slab.
I could go on and on and on. And we'd like you to ask as many questions as you can. You'd be surprised if you're a Vietnam veteran and you're listening to me tonight. Please mark on your calendar. You owe it to yourself to go to a high school in Wake County and sit in on a 90-minute class on Vietnam. Our teachers here are tremendous. They're wonderful teachers. The students are also very intuitive. They need you to tell them your story. You're not in a textbook. You walk in and sign in, and you'll love it as much as the kids.
If you were a protester, or even if you went to Canada, we'd like to have you on the show. May spit in your eye afterwards, but we'd like to have you on the show. If you have any questions about Vietnam, whatever, this is a great opportunity coming up with the symposium, not the symposium, but the weekend at the History Museum. We're going to have Vietnams from all different types of Vietnam veterans. What year you were there makes a big difference, and your job made a big difference.
Sure.
And we're going to have some of every kind that you can think of there. POWs, pilots, helicopter pilots, infantry grunts, engineers, clerk typists, mailmen, a little bit of everything went on in Vietnam. This is a great opportunity to come meet a Vietnam vet and ask him all the questions you want to ask. You won't get this opportunity many times, but we're taking this Vietnam Veterans Weekend opportunity to put ourselves out there and come ask questions, make your comments, whatever. If you come up and say, well, I really wish I had gone to Vietnam, you may get laughed at. It's amazing how many people apologize for not going to Vietnam.
Hey, I love those guys.
Yeah. They could have taken my place. My wife and I would have been glad to step back and say, let me get out of your way.
Bill, I want to make a comment, too, about something that's going on in Washington, D.C. also. There's an education center going adjacent to the wall. It's underway in D.C., due to open, we think, in about a year. And as Bill has mentioned, this weekend is being billed as a Vietnam experience. The main part is etching to stone, of course. That's the keystone event. But the education center in Washington, D.C., may be making a token visit to see what we're doing, how we're doing it. They've been informed. And this is happening all over the country. I don't think you'll see one as well planned as the one in Raleigh coming up at the end of this month. A lot of good work, a lot of good people, and we have been given national recognition for Lessons of Vietnam as the #1 course in the nation. And we love that recognition. We want to build it more and more and more. So please come and see us, bring your questions, bring your friends. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah, we've been talking so much about the Vietnam Veterans Weekend, but that's what this show's all about, is the fact that you can come to this weekend and get all the questions, see Vietnam vets, give us some ideas, like we said, of your show. A great opportunity. I'm not going to promise you that we will have a helicopter there, but I'm saying that there's a good chance we'll have some Vietnam helicopters there. My biggest problem right now, I've got the helicopters lined up, I got the vehicles lined up, I just got to find a place to put them. The city of Raleigh does not like the idea of blocking the Eaton Street because of the heavy traffic going through there. So I'm working on some other places close by. I do not have quite the permission yet. I have been known to ask forgiveness rather than permission, but I would say there's a very good chance that we'll have helicopters and vehicles there for you to sit in, bring your kids. Kids are a little, I think a teenager would be all right for going to see the play. There's no vulgar words in it, or bad words or whatever, but it is intense.
It is.
A business wall. It does have music. It does have slide presentation with scenes of Vietnam and so forth. But it is intense, and I wouldn't bring young children to the play. but bring them to see the wall and the vehicles and so forth, and let them sit in a helicopter seat like they were a door gunner or whatever.
Sure.
And right. We still got some time yet, so if you want to call in, ask questions, make a comment, be glad to have you. Again, if you're local, on March 22nd, American Legion Post 116 in Fuquay Arena are doing a Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day, free food. I know if you're a Vietnam veteran out there, you like the word free food. The American Legion 116 is located on Johnson Pond Road. If you Google them up, you can probably find out how to get there and so forth. I think it's going to start around 12 or 1 o'clock. We'll be there with the wall about 10, so if you want to come by and see the wall and so forth. So a lot of opportunities out there for you to come out and talk to a Vietnam vet, punch a Vietnam vet or whatever. Say whatever you want to. I would think there's probably one question, though, that you probably will not get an answer to, and normally adults know better than do this, or high school kids, but sometimes the grammar school kids want to know this one question, and it's how many did you kill and people did you kill in Vietnam? I've been asked how many did you skin and eat in Vietnam? It seems that one of the wannabe veterans went into a school and talked about killing and skinning the Vietnamese people, communists and so forth. And, that's one of the important parts of the school program too, because they go in and a real veteran goes back in and kind of straightens it out and so forth. But it does give out there. It's like there were 3 million people served in Vietnam. There's 13 million on the census that claims to be Vietnam vets. So probably wouldn't be a good idea, because it's none of your business how many people did you kill in Vietnam. I know I can tell you for a fact I never killed a baby in Vietnam. I know that children got killed, just like in any other war. It's a terrible situation. There's nothing good about war. All the stuff we do, Bob, is not to show how wonderful war is. All the things we do in this program and all the things we have in the schools and this event we got coming up is basically comes right down to war is hell.
Well, Bill, another thing, too, you got to remember is one of the famous lines we're using lately is every time you ask somebody something, they say, well, it's online. Everything's online. It is online. Our course is 62 pages, and it's online. If you go to ncvvi.org, you can print off the course. But I'll promise you this. If you come to this event in Raleigh, you'll walk away with a book on the wall, and I have 5 copies, hard copies, of Lessons of Vietnam, 62 pages, and they're giveaways. First 5 teachers get them. They're like door prizes.
Yeah. We will have nice coffee table books about on the wall for you to come and have and so forth. So lots of good goodies there. And I had something else that was really important for me to tell you, and it just totally went away. It's tough to get old and so forth. So
another thing too is being in Raleigh and having this state as military base as it is. There's a lot of North Carolina and Vietnam veterans that have been quiet for years. We have ordered some new shirts that say North Carolina Vietnam Veterans. We are very proud of you guys and you girls and your families. Come to this and you'll leave with more to talk about than ever to your family and to your local schools. It's hard going back to high school. We all know that. But once you do, you can't stay away.
If you know a Vietnam vet, please encourage them to come. I know that for a long, long time, I just didn't want anything to do with Vietnam. Nobody knew I was a Vietnam vet. And then this organization had a booth out at the fair.
Sure.
And for 2 or 3 years, I kept walking by and standing off to the side and looking at those guys behind the counter there and going, they look normal. And because I had listened to all the things on the news that was always talking about we were druggies and all this sort of stuff, and I'm going, I wasn't me, and I started looking at people and going, they look like normal people. And I joined, and I tell you, it's been the greatest thing as far as healing process to go to talk to other Vietnam veterans and so forth. So if you have a Vietnam veteran or in your family or someone that you know, and they said, well, I can't talk about it or I don't want to talk about it, encourage them to come and talk to us. it's a really healing process. We've had some of our veterans on this show who later have called or emailed me and told me how special it was and how much better they feel about the overall process. One of the shows we're going to be having coming out pretty soon will be post-traumatic stress, and
very much so.
that's very much in today's notice because of the soldiers that are coming home so much with it now. Our Agent Orange show that we did is also on archives, so you can go back and watch the Agent Orange shows. Mr. Matthews enjoyed the Agent Orange show so much, he has now found out that he is qualified for the Agent Orange benefits and so forth. And
I didn't know I had Agent Orange.
you didn't know he had Agent Orange
you did the
until he got the information from our show, and now he's found out that he qualifies for some benefits through Agent Orange. We've had other people call and tell us that.
Yeah, sure.
So the archives are there for you to go in and listen to them again. Not all are Bob and I running on and so forth. There's some good, strong material on the Agent Orange. You mentioned a while ago, everybody talks about going on the internet. And of course, if it's on the internet, it's all true.
Of course.
So
like the Bible.
when you go in the internet and you read some of the stuff, read it with a grain of salt and find you a real Vietnam vet and get it clarified, because there's a lot of misinformation about the Vietnam War, just like it was when we came home.
Sure.
Out there. There's some really crazy people out there making comments and so forth on both sides, the protest side and the Vietnam vet side. So check out your sources, and looking forward to continuing bringing you the shows that you want to see, but we need your help. We need your help with the ideas and so forth, because we want to bring out the information and so forth so you can have it, help other Vietnam vets and their families out there. But we need your input on what kind of shows you want to see. We'd love to have more Vietnam vets come in and talk. That means Bob and I don't have to do so much talking. And we'll look forward to seeing you at one of the plays. We're going to look forward to seeing you that Saturday at the ceremony. We just had our ceremony this past Saturday. The April ceremony will be the Vietnam Veterans Motorcycle Organization, I believe, is coming in and do the names for us. So you'll see the Vietnam Veterans Motorcycle Organization. We've always had a good appearance from the former Arvins that are there. So we thank you for joining us. And
Sure.
okay, the dates of the show and times. Okay, get your pencil and paper ready again. We're going to have a test afterwards. March 27th, the show starts at 7 p.m., but the displays will start around 10 o'clock on that Friday. So you can come out and see the wall, see the helicopter and some of the other stuff at the North Carolina History Museum, which is on Edenton Street, directly across the street from the Vietnam Veterans Memorial that's located on the state capitol grounds. So all you got to do is find a place to park, go see the Vietnam Memorial for the 1 o'clock service on 1 o'clock service on Saturday, and then walk across the street to the museum and see all the great things in the museum that's got going on there. They can park in the parking lots there. It's free parking. In fact, I think the parking space alongside the streets are free. I hope so, because I haven't never used the meters on Saturdays when I'm there.
They are free.
The displays will start at 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock. The play starts at 4 o'clock, and then on Sunday, the last night of the show will start at 2 o'clock. The displays will start around 1 o'clock. When the show is over with, we'll be packing things up. So if you want to get a printout from the wall and so forth, come early. After the play, we'll probably be pretty busy trying to meet everybody and sign all the autographs and so forth,
Sure.
and for the glossies.
That's right.
And so we won't have a whole lot of chance to talk to you. So come before the play. Look at the Vietnam vet displays and walk through the museum. If you've never been to the North Carolina History Museum, they got a great Sports Hall of Fame there.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And they got something there almost constantly, all the time there. It's a great venue and so forth. Those people have been really nice for us, helping us out. And I want to throw out a thank you a whole lot to William Peace University. When we started this project, we didn't know what we were going to do as far as audio and video and stage hands and director and all that sort of stuff. And they stepped up, and this thing is going to be fantastic because they're telling us what to do. We just kind of make it up as we go usually, but it always comes out all right. But these people that come in are real professionals. They've done a lot of recording.
Well, this is the acting debut for a lot of us.
Yes. And maybe the end of our acting career for some of us too.
I know it's the end of mine.
But I tell you, you will thoroughly enjoy the play. If nothing, come laugh at me when I do my parts. Of course, I'm playing me, so it's fairly easy for me.
Well, Bob has a ponytail.
I'm the grumpy Vietnam vet. So,
I'm the war protester.
And you're the war protester with the ponytail. Listen, come pull Bob's tail, ponytail. Look forward to seeing you at the next show, the POW show, and the shows after this. And again, while we're thanking everybody, I want to thank Amnon Nissan for all his great work with putting the show on and so forth and making us behave ourselves, looking at the right camera, and talking loud enough.
Perfect.
That is a full-time job to keep us
it
looking where we're supposed to do and holding paper up where we're supposed to do and so forth and so on. We thank you for all that. And
Thank you.
And thank you, Ron Harris.
good evening, good night, and
Good luck.
good luck, and that's all there is. Tonight's news.
That's the way it is.
Yes.
Who said that? Walter Cronkite?
Walter Concrete said that.
Yeah.
That's the guy that deserted us in the Vietnam
That's
War
it.
and caused us to lose the war.
That's the way it is.
Yes.
And it was.
Walter Concrete.
Okay.
Concrete.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.